Alright guys, welcome to a new video. This time we're not talking about Delta Vector, we're not talking about turn-based racing. It's time for... So yeah, we're developing a new game. No more Delta Vector, we're done with turn-based racing. Maybe in the future I'll get back to it, but maybe fix some bugs, maybe even do a 3D version of it, but I wanted to do something different. So yeah, we're doing a new game. It's funny because this project actually started just as a test. It was not supposed to really become a game. I just wanted to test some things in 3D because, as you know, Delta Vector is a 2D game and I wanted to see what I could do with 3D because I know that you have some limitations in 2D that you don't have in 3D. So for example, some lighting effects you can only do in 3D and some physics as well. That's because of Unity. And so I wanted to test and have some fun, see what I could do in 3D. And I ended up really enjoying it and creating this prototype of a game. This game that you're seeing here in the background. A very important disclaimer is that this is before a prototype. It's early build. It's totally incomplete. It looks ugly at the moment. Only has this like capsules and squares instead of actual units. There's still much work to be done, but yeah, I like the direction the game is going, the actual game, not the visuals. And so I thought it would be a good idea to share this devlog and actually show this is what I'm doing now. But yeah, bear in mind, it's early days, early build. This is still... it's gonna look much better in the future. So yeah, before we get into the actual game, I promise I will explain it and show it, but I wanted to show the progress. So from where it started and all the things that changed, and yeah, I'll make a quick section of the video just showcasing how the game started, what I changed and what I changed again, and what it is now. So you can skip to this part if you want to see only the actual game. So yeah, as you can see, this is the first version. The idea is that you are this cylinder, this ball here, this gray ball, and you can shoot enemies. So I'm now using the sniper, which is this like very fast red shot. But you also have this your standard rifle, and then you have your machine gun. And yeah, something I really liked about this first version was the lasers and their effects, because as you can see, you shoot this green, blue, red lasers that glow just like Star Wars, because I was very inspired in this to make it look like Clone Wars, you know. I really wanted to make maybe a clone army versus the droids. I really liked that part, and so I wanted to go for that look, and I really liked how the lasers looked. They also create this glowing yellow burn mark where they reach. So yeah, and this actually remains in the game in a way. This visual style, this Clone Wars inspired and with lasers and yellow glow marks, this is still in the game. But yeah, this was basically just the first version. Some random enemies spawn and they chase you and you have to shoot them down. And then in version 2, I decided I wanted to make the visuals better, so version 2. So yeah, this is version 2. As you can see, it's a mess. The burn marks for some reason are huge here, and then have this horrible terrain. Yeah, this one is just really a mess, but the idea what I wanted to get here was to have actual real enemy models, but I didn't know how to animate them, so it's just like those zombie looking robots that are not animated. But yeah, this has some cool things. The enemies actually shoot now, so the yellow squares, they can shoot at you, and then the robots here, they chase you. And then you also have, this was supposed to be a red trail, for some reason it's pink now, but it's like the sniper has a trail, and then you have some objects. But yeah, this one was a mess. It was about when I wanted to change the game to another thing. But yeah, it had some cool things, but it was very broken, looking ugly. I was about to give up on it, but then came version 3. Alright, and here is version 3. And so here we already have some improvements. As you can see, I can now fly. I have a free camera mode, and I have a third person mode. And then we have the aim, which you can either shoot freely. For example, you can shoot here in the ground, or you can make it shoot straight up to reach targets. And then these ones are friendly units. They are supposed to be like your army. I also developed this gun. I really like this gun. So it's basically like a machine gun that shoots very fast. Let me try and find an object here to demonstrate. So yeah, you can just spam shots and you can aim freely wherever you want. This one was it's probably one of the things that made me most happy when I was developing this like very fast laser. And yeah, it was a big improvement from based on version 2. But then this is when I started to actually like the game, because as you can see, some units are spawning here. These units, they are friendly, and then the friendly units try to capture the command points. So as you can see, they capture this one, and then they capture this one, and every time that you capture a command point, more units spawn from it, so your army gets bigger. But then the enemy, the yellow enemy, also does the same thing. So they started over there and captured those command points and started this real war, you know? And it's cool because you're not controlling them and you're not supposed to. I'll get more into it when I actually show the final game. But I didn't want to have an RTS game where you have to drag and send units. I want them to do things by themselves. And so they really are autonomous fighters that are trying to capture the enemy command points while the enemy is doing the same thing. And yeah, I think we are kind of capturing the Clone Wars, Star Wars vibe. That's what I really wanted. And yeah, something that changed a lot, and you guys will see that from now on, is that I don't want it to be a third-person game anymore or a top-down shooter. So for example, although I developed this 3D camera and that it works kind of well, I don't want to be actually fighting in the war. I want just for it to be a pure strategy game. So I died. I'm just in the next versions I deleted the part where you control an army and you just observe and do it from far away. But yeah, I was actually proud of this version. This started to look very cool. This is when I got inspired to make the strategy game and look and see. I like this. I like where this is going. There's friendly fire, which I think is great because the units shoot themselves and they are very dumb. They just walk and shoot and die, and yeah, I really like it. I also like the visuals with all the bullet marks here, because that means that some real wars, like some real firefighting happened near this wall for some reason, because the enemy shot at it, and yeah. But yeah, so now let's go to version 4, which is supposed to be fully focused on the strategy part. No more of that player shooting, third-person view, full strategy. Alright, so here we are at the version 4. We already have a big improvement, which is press space to pause, so the game hasn't started yet. And I really can't show the sound in this version because it has copyrighted music. I'll just show like very quickly what the song is so that you guys can recognize it. Yeah, as I said, it's very Star Wars inspired. So I thought, if you are not going to be doing anything in the game, just observing, you need to do something to control your army, right? But I don't want, as I said before, to select units and say where they need to go. I want them to choose randomly, or they have their own thought process to choose where they want to go. And so the only thing that you can do for now, in the future I will add more things for the player to do, is to choose which types of units spawn and how many of them spawn. So for example, right now we have, let's say I want 50% attackers because I want to conquer a large part of the map. But then we're gonna have 10% defenders, 10% hunters, and let's get 15% builders because I think they are cool. And then here you also can mess with the how many points you have. And so once we press space, all the units will spawn according to these percentages that you filled here. Yeah, one big problem of this version was performance. It's already quite laggy and it becomes even laggier. But yeah, so the white units are the attackers. They are just going to go and capture command points. These blue units, they are hunters. They don't focus so much on capturing command points. They focus more on killing units. Also, the enemy team only has attackers, so they have many more units because the attackers are cheap, and so they should have an initial advantage. And then those green units over there, these ones, these units are the defenders, and so they are just going to be patrolling around our friendly territory. And this pink things here is the turrets constructed by the builders. So the builders, these purple ones, they just randomly build turrets after X amount of time, and so they just create this line of turrets that shoot very fast and defend us. Yeah, here you can see this shot was from the sniper, the hunter. It creates this cool line. And yeah, if you have many hunters, they really obliterate the enemy. The hunters are really strong. Too strong actually. I need some changes in the future. And here you have the captain. So as you can see, the captain is commanding this group of 5 units. And here is the turret shooting. I really wish we could have sound. I won't be able to turn sound on because of the music. But those turrets, they go pew 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 and shoot very fast. And so yeah, this was the version of the game that I really... This is the base of the game. This is the final idea. But we had some real problems with performance, and that's due to many technical things. But basically, the way I built this game, and because we were mixing, we still have the 3D part enabled here. And so you have like complex code and a lot of things happening. It needed to be simplified. Because for example, let's restart. How do I restart? Control R. If we have too many units, as you can see here, the game becomes very buggy, very laggy. And also you have, let's do it with 10,000 units. The biggest problem I had with this version is that, first of all, it's very laggy. Yeah, now I think it's just too laggy. But yeah, also you can see that only a few units are moving, and that's because of the pathfinding mechanic that Unity had. I was using NavMesh, and NavMesh really doesn't fit more than 200 units at the same time. And so I decided I wanted to completely scrap the game. I deleted the whole project and started from the beginning, always saying focus on the performance. And yeah, it was a bit sad because this was going somewhere I really liked. I had already built many things regarding the unit personalities and this UI and all that, but I just had to do it from the beginning, try a different approach, which is the version 4. Let me show you guys. Alright, so here we are at version 5. The version where we scrapped everything. Did most of the things back. Now the units are blue instead of white, but whatever. And I tried messing with these ramps here, which proved to be a big problem because without the old pathfinding, the NavMesh, most of the units, they end up getting stuck like in these corners. They are not doing that now, but I swear they do. But yeah, it's basically the same game. As you can see, the units are same idea. They spawn. From now we have this big square block here, which is the base. The enemy also has a base, and then they are supposed to capture command points. And then command points, they actually give you points. The same lasers, although the lasers look a bit different now, but same lasers. Yeah, it's the same game, but starting from the beginning, starting back. And the performance here is much better because we have hundreds of units, but we're still at 60 FPS or more. And so, yeah, I really wanted to focus on performance. The biggest performance change, unfortunately, is that I disabled the physics for the units. I only enable them in specific cases. For example, when they die, they become ragdolls so that they can fall down, or when they are climbing, they also have physics to not go into the ground. But in general, they have much simplified physics. But yeah, I don't have many things to say here. So I just wanted to show that I reset the game. And then we get to the final version before the last version, which is version 6. Alright, so here we are at version 6. Already you can see that you have these massive mountains. And yeah, let me just spawn the units. Now I included back the army composition, so you can choose if you want more attackers or more defenders or hunters. It's still early, not as developed as the original version, but yeah, let me press space and unit spawn. Oh, reset, spawn, yeah. So as you can see, we have many more units than before, and the FPS is at 220. So I'm very happy with the performance in this version. The performance is looking great. In the old version, if we had this many units, I think it's 350, the FPS would be 30 or less, and now we're doing a lot more. So when we can even, oh no, yeah, we're here at basically 2000 units and the game is still running. So yeah, that's good. I'm happy with performance. But yeah, so in the other version I showed that we had those ramps, right? And the ramps didn't really work, but I realized that if I used terrain, the units could climb terrain without no problem. So the terrain is not like a physical object as it was before. Now it's just like hills created in the same plane. So all of this is just the same object that has hills. And it had some small problems, most of all related to physics. So for example, you can see that units are clipping in the ground here, and they also start flying a little bit when they are falling down, and that's because of the simplified physics. I fixed that later, but it was just a test. And then we also have the same combat. I think the green ones are the defenders, the blue ones are the attackers, and then we have this like light blue, which is the hunters, and they shoot at each other. For some reason they also have no sound in this version. We are supposed to have sound, but whatever. And yeah, same idea again. In the future I changed this ugly green and redid the mountains. There are not so many mountains in the new version, but I just wanted to test if the units would be able to climb it and if they would understand what a mountain is. And I also didn't want them to shoot through the mountains, so inside the mountain you shouldn't see any shots entering it. They collide. But yeah, this is basically it. And then I started building from this version on many improvements, and that is what I'm going to show you, because now we head to the actual, let's call it first or official version of the All-Out War game. Alright, so now that I showed you my whole trajectory for the past 3 or 4 months, I think, of developing this test that became a game, I want to talk about the actual game, what it is, what All-Out War actually is, now that we are focused on doing it. But it's a strategy game, but the two main selling points are, the first is massive amounts of units. So I want to have at least 1000 units in the field with good performance. All of them need to be shooting each other, doing something. So I really want to focus on massive scales. If you all search the game Beyond All Reason bar, it has this like really massive battles with bots, and that's the direction I want to go regarding the number of units, not the gameplay. And the other thing is I want an army creator. I really want you to, I think the most fun thing about the game will be that you will be able to create your own army and create your own units and create your own weapons. So I want in the future that you, like, let's say level 1, you only have the basic unit, the attacker with the basic weapon, the rifle. But as you progress, you can upgrade your weapons. You can make an attacker equip 2 weapons, and then you unlock different unit personalities, and then you can create units. For example, you could have a defender that has a sniper. You could have like the behemoth, which is like this massive unit that has 5 machine guns and costs very much. And so I really want you to be able to like drag and drop and create actual units, and then set your army using those units. And the fun of it is like a puzzle. So you will have levels where you have the enemy has many snipers, and so you will need to maybe build many, like, span out swarms of fast units so that the snipers that have a short fire ratio won't be able to shoot them all. Or maybe you want to have rockets because the enemy has many small units and you want to blow them off. I don't know. That's what I think it's the fun thing. And never controlling the units, just controlling your army, sending them to war, and basically praying, you know, like, okay, I built this army, that's what I hope they do, let's test it out and see if they do it. And then, yeah, so that's the game. I want to show you what the actual game looks like at the moment, but I don't want to show that too much because I don't think it looks so good at the moment. But I want you to get that idea of like building an army, building your own units, sending them to war, and just observing the massive battle. And during the gameplay, like while you're playing, you can change the sliders. So if you want to have more of this unit or more of that unit, you may want more cheap units in the beginning, then you have more expensive units in the late game, I don't know. And also I'm thinking about including powers. So for example, you can use X amount of points to drop lightning, some things to keep the player entertained. But in general, it's more of an observative game where you look more than you actually play. I find that very fun. I know that many people will say, oh, but that's not fun because you're not doing anything. Well, why can't I shoot and whatever? But I have fun. I really have fun developing this game, and sometimes when I see I just spent like an hour looking at the units instead of actually developing the game, I find it fun, and so I hope you guys find it fun as well. Alright, so let me show you guys the game very quickly. I won't take too long, the video is already long enough. Maybe in the future when I develop more stuff I'll make a more in-depth video. But the game starts on this screen. In the future it will be a separate screen where you can see your unit. So for example, this is the attacker. You can change its color. By default it's blue, but you can change your unit's color. The attacker will just try and capture command points and shoot at enemies. And then you can also change their health, their speed. And also in the future, I want the player to be able to change these things, but the cost will change. So let's say, for example, if we change the health to 20, and then we change the speed to 20, and we set its fire rate to 0.1, so it will shoot 10 bullets every second. This unit is much stronger than the standard attacker, so it would automatically register, for example, like, I don't know, 100 cost. But for now, let's just keep the standard attacker, which costs 10. Then we have the defender, which has by standard a shotgun, but you can change the weapon that it's using. But I like the defender having a shotgun because it's more like to protect, for protection. Then we have the hunter, which is like a long-range sniper, and it shoots this like trail that remains in the battlefield for like a half a second. It looks very cool. It's very expensive. It's costing 100. It has massive range and massive damage, but low fire rate. So it really shines when you keep it behind the lines. If you have like 5 or 10 hunters, they really help clearing the other units, but they are also very fragile. Also, the attacker only has 90 accuracy, which is actually bad. I need to improve this because 90 looks as if it is good, but 90 means it will miss almost all of its shots. So it's just like shooting everywhere, trying to hit enemies, while the hunter has 100 accuracy, so it basically hits every shot. So although it only fires once every 5 seconds, it shoots, it kills. Then we have the Rocketeer, which honestly I think it's the most fun unit at the moment. It like shoots this rocket upwards, you'll see, and then shoots upwards, the rocket finds a target and boom, flies to the target. And the Builder, which although it's showing a weapon here, doesn't have a weapon, it just has the hammer, and the hammer is used to build a turret. So it builds a turret, it dies, basically it becomes a turret. And so you can mess around with the units. The enemies will only have attackers for now, and if you want you can build 100% defenders. I do not recommend that. If you want you can build 100% hunters. And also here you have the initial points. Let's start with 3000. No, let's start with 2000. If we start with 2000 points and we say all hunters, only spawn hunters, we will only spawn 20 units because the hunter costs 100, while the enemy will spawn 200 attackers. Let me just show you. So as you can see here, we have 20 hunters with their snipers, but honestly this is not so good because the enemy will have 200 attackers. The attacker is much weaker than the sniper, but honestly I don't think the hunters can beat this many units by themselves. It's just too many. And you can do the same for the Rocketeer, for example. The Rocketeer is even more expensive. It costs 200, so it would only spawn 10, as you can see. But yeah, the Rocketeer is very cool, and it does a lot of damage. But yeah, for now, I really do not recommend you to spawn only Rocketeers. Also, I have this cheat mode where I can press on the map and explode, and I think that's very fun. But that's just for me to laugh a little bit. Let me show you guys the yeah. Oh no. The rockets are kind of backfiring in the beginning. I have to fix that. But yeah, as you can see, the Rocketeer, it just shoots these rockets upwards. Let me try and follow one here. So it shot this one upwards. It will find a target and go. This guy is dead. Yeah, I really like the Rocketeer. But anyways, let's reset and set the standard. So as a standard, let's set 2,000 points. We would spawn 57, probably around 57 attackers, 4 defenders, 7 hunters, and 1 Rocketeer. Let me improve that a little bit. I want at least 2 Rocketeers and 3 builders that will build turrets. Alright, so as you can see above, we spawned 50 units while the enemy spawned 200. That's because our units are much more expensive and varied. Also, they jump. I think it's easier if we show the enemies jumping. Every 5 to 100 seconds, they have a random chance of jumping and making a little sound. Do you see them jumping? I just think it's funny to have them beep, jump. Okay, so the Rocketeers already started sending some rockets, doing massive damage. They excel against these large groups of enemies. Yeah, we're really gonna lose the attacker battles because they have many more attackers, but hopefully the hunters and the Rocketeers can deal enough damage to them before they reach our front line. But sometimes they don't. Oh, our builder already spawned a turret. The turret shoots extremely fast. It's very strong, but it doesn't move, so it's got this disadvantage of being like a non-mobile unit. But yeah, it shoots very fast and leaves a trail of bullets. And if you see this, let me try and pause. These trails here are coming from the sniper, so this is the sniper shot. Oh, and by the way, I forgot, we can turn night mode on, which I think looks much better. I should have started on night mode. You really see the lasers glowing. So how are we? We have 37 units left and the enemy has 140, so we may be doomed. We are generating 17 points per second. That's because we have 7 command points plus 10 from the base, and the enemy is generating 25 command points, which means 10 from the base and 15 from the command points captured. So it's really essential that you capture command points so that you earn the money to spawn more units. We're kind of losing that battle at the moment, but our units are more efficient, so hopefully we can offset that difference. 40 to 120, I think we're starting to turn the game around. These turrets are really helping. They are very expensive, but they are really helping. Some defenders over here as well to help us defend. Come on, the rockets really need to do their thing. Okay, I think we held them because there's no more like massive army, and if they keep coming just like in a line, they won't be able to penetrate. Yeah, in general, I want for like a mixed army to be more efficient than just like the enemy that spams the attackers. But sometimes the attackers win because there are just so many. But yeah, if you have like a few snipers and a few Rocketeers mixed with like 70% attackers, you should be good to go, at least on this first level. Then in the future, the enemies will be more complex and have more variety, and you really need to... Well, I forgot to show this, but we can change it here. So for example, let's spawn only defenders now. This doesn't make sense, I wouldn't recommend you to do it, but just for me to show you. So the next unit that will spawn will be a defender. Come on, where's my defender? Aha, here we go. Only defenders are spawning now. And then if we switch to attacker, now only attackers spawn. And if we switch to Rocketeers, none will spawn because they are so expensive, but then they will start spawning. it really takes some time for them to. They cost a lot, so they take a long time to spawn. But so yeah, guys, I'll leave you with like maybe some time from this view. Let's leave the game. I'll end it here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found that it is an interesting idea. And yeah, send me some feedback. If you want to play the game, I can send you like a copy. That would be a pleasure. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you guys on the next one.